Everyone, thank you so much for being here today. It really means a lot.
Make sure you face out, like in front of the mics. Face out.
Oh, out here? All right. Well, you all get to see my back. All right.
Got your back.
Thanks. I need it. Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today at our Unity break. I really appreciate everyone's support. I really appreciate everyone's support.
This side.
That side?
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Reese Neidecker. I'm a family medicine resident, a proud member of our union, CIR, the Committee of Interns and Residents. I'm an elected delegate here at the hospital and for our union, and I'm a member of our bargaining team. We've come together today as peers, as co-workers, as union members, and most importantly, as doctors, because we all understand the importance of standing up for our rights as workers and for the rights of everyone in our community to access for amazing health care. Our residents, nearly 400 physicians here in Vermont, are fighting for a contract that ensures we are fairly compensated so that we can afford to live in the community in which we serve. We fight to change shift lengths for the highest acuity areas in our hospital to protect ourselves and to protect our patients. We fight for the improvement in benefits that make meaningful differences to how we are able to care for ourselves and to care for our families at home. We fight for common good provisions that allow us to protect our peers and to protect our patients from unjust immigration enforcement and to dedicate funds to patient care here in our community. As residents, we often work 80 hours a week, many of us working over 24 hours at a time in some of the highest acuity areas of the hospital. And in doing this, we delay our own health care. We sacrifice sleep. We sacrifice our well-being. We sacrifice our time spent with family. And we do all this carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, many of us struggling to afford rent and living paycheck to paycheck. This is not only unsustainable, this is unethical, and this hurts our ability to be at our best so we can give our best to our patients. Residents are at the very center of patient care here at UVMMC. And frankly, Vermont's flagship hospital would not be able to function without us continuing to give our all to make the hospital the model of care in this state. Despite all this, UVMMC administration continues to refuse us the respect and the dignity that we have earned. Our initial wage proposal was a 0% increase from the hospital, saying that we should be happy with what we have. Even after months of negotiation, the latest proposed salaries reflect an increase that is less than the annual rate of inflation, essentially a year-over-year pay cut. Right? But this failure to reach a fair agreement that reflects our value will not hold. Our residency program is fully subsidized by federal government funding. We are not only free labor for the hospital, but the hospital is literally paid by the government for the work we provide and the revenue that we generate. Yeah, this is why we are here today. We are here because doctors need to focus on providing quality care for their patients, not on if we have enough in our bank accounts to afford groceries this week. We need a fair contract now. We need a fair contract, not just for ourselves, but for our peers. Yeah, we need a fair contract, not just for ourselves, but for our patients. Yeah. And we need a fair contract for the future of healthcare in Vermont. We fight for all of this because we believe that we deserve something better, and that all those who rely on the hospital here in Vermont deserve something more. That is why we will not stop fighting until we get the contract that we deserve. To speak on some other issues that are facing us residents here at UVMMC, I would like to invite my colleague and fellow CIR delegate, Dr. Brandon Long, to speak. Brandon. Great job, Reese.
All right. Thank you, Reese, for the introduction, and thank you so much for kicking us off. Hello to my UVMMC crew. I am so inspired by how many people showed up to support our fight for a safer, better, fairer contract. I want to start off by recognizing that we're all here today because we love what we do. We find purpose and meaning in caring for sick Vermonters. We have to. How else would we clock in upwards of 80 hours per week, working 24-hour shifts and months of overnights? Upwards of 80 hours per week, and yet many residents are stressing about how they're going to pay rent, how they're going to pay for childcare, and other expenses. We all love our jobs, but goodwill is not enough to sustain us. At a recent bargaining session, UVMMC management told us that our resident salaries are in fact livable if we mind our, quote, lifestyle choices. What on earth do they mean by that? Having children? Paying back $200,000 to $400,000 of student loan debt? Are these lifestyle choices, or is this the reality of us residents who provide patient care each and every day? They call them lifestyle choices. We call them the reality of residents trying to live a normal life. Nobody should have to choose between providing patient care and having a future, okay? There's a recent study that compared 2023 resident salaries and stipends to the living wage. By their calculations, residents who are the sole earners for their family who have one child will not earn a living wage until postgraduate year 5. And if they have 2 or more children, forget it. They don't earn a living wage at any point in their training. As residents, we are consistently showing up for the health of Vermonters, yet some of us struggle to support our own families. That is simply not sustainable, okay? That is why we are fighting for childcare benefits in this upcoming contract. I recently spoke with a fellow resident who welcomed his second child earlier this year. What a tremendous blessing. Yet, he was quickly faced with the harsh reality of how he was going to support his family off of his intern salary. He and his partner cannot afford to have a second car, so he takes the bus or bikes to work so that his spouse can use the car for childcare. One weekend, as he was biking to work, he was hit by a car. Luckily, he was not seriously injured, but you might be able to see where I'm going with this. Yes, he did stay for the remainder of his shift because the service was busy and it was the one day off that week for other members on his team. This is just one of countless examples of how residents sacrifice their mind, body, and spirit in order to continue caring for patients. There are residents who drive for Uber on their days off in order to make extra money. There are residents whose entire paychecks go to paying for childcare. We work upwards of 80 hours per week caring for patients. The last thing we should have to do is worry about how we are going to pay our rent. Luckily, we are not alone. We are fortunate to be part of a strong coalition of multidisciplinary laborers and fellow union members, such as those represented by the Vermont Federation of Nurses and Health Professions and UVMMC Support Staff United. To put it simply, this hospital would not be able to function without our labor as frontline healthcare workers and support staff. All right?
Would not function.
No. As a psychiatry resident, I feel this the most when I respond to behavioral codes on the unit. I work alongside nurses, security, patient support, and techs in order to keep patients and staff safe. We depend on each other, but we can't show up for our colleagues and we can't show up for our patients if we're worried about how we're going to care for ourselves and how we are going to care for our families. That's why in this contract, we are fighting for fair wages that not only reflect the hard work and hours we put in as residents, but the value that we contribute to the hospital and the state of Vermont as a whole. That is why we are fighting and demanding childcare benefits. We are asking UVMMC management, help us help our communities. Come to the bargaining table and deliver a fair contract. As residents, we are a critical social safety net for Burlington and the greater region. Invest in us so that we can better care for patients and so that we can support the communities that we live in and work in and create a safer Vermont for all Vermonters. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it one more time for Brandon. That was amazing. All right. Well, as healthcare workers, whether you are a resident, a nurse, a technical professional, or a member of support staff, it is important for us to know that we all rely on one another. Because at the end of the day, it is our collaboration with each other that benefits our patients. Together we are one workforce, and together we are the backbone of UVMMC. Woo! Yeah. I'd like to invite Jacob Berkowitz, president of UVMMC Support Staff United, to say a few words. We are grateful for being able to work in coalition with Support Staff United, the Nursing Federation, and everyone else here at the hospital. Let's hear it for Jacob, everyone.
Got to get situated here. Thank you, Reese, and for our colleagues in CIR for inviting us to speak today. One phrase that I love and I say every chance I can is the famous labor union motto, an injury to one is an injury to all. That's right. And I don't just say it because we're not super creative at coming up with new phrasing, but because it's true. And it's something that we've lost in this country over the course of decades, and we're starting to bring back today through all of our work that you're seeing in front of you. I'll say as a brief story, CIR at UVMMC and my union, UVM Medical Center Support Staff United, formed at similar times in between 2022 and 2023. And there was, people are new, different organizations. There was not really any communication between the two unions. A lot going on in those years. This time around, as we were bargaining on similar timelines, there's been constant communication, constant collaboration, and that's what it takes to win strong contracts. We even, Reese had mentioned a proposal to strengthen immigration protections, not just for our members, but for our patients as well. Our union and the text of the VFNHP adopted much of that language for our own immigration proposal. And that strong language would not have been possible without that collaboration. One other thing I will say is the hospital is terrified that we are all working together. There are roughly 3,800 maybe 3,700 people, unionized workers that are currently bargaining their contract with UVM Medical Center. That is definitely the most, by a pretty significant margin, that have ever been bargaining together at once. And they are scared for a reason. If we stick together, we will get strong contracts. And not just for ourselves, not just wage increases or job security protections, or childcare. It's also these common good proposals, not just with immigration, but for calling on the hospital to stop standing in the way of a single-payer healthcare system in Vermont. If the hospital is losing so much money as they claim, why are they spending money on lobbyists? Why are they giving so much money over to New York hospitals? $120 million over the last few years, by the way. There is money, it's a matter of priorities, and they need to prioritize their workforce and their patients. Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to continued collaboration with our brothers and sisters in CIR.
Let's hear it one more time for Jacob. Thank you, Jacob, for coming out. Now, we also appreciate the support of our elected officials here today, standing by our sides as we demand fair contracts for ourselves and investment in our community. If you're an elected official today and you haven't talked to Roberto, he's over there, hand up. Please go say hi so we can thank you later. But now I'd like to introduce one of our elected officials, State Senator Tanya Vyhovsky, who has been a longtime champion of workers across Vermont, working to expand healthcare access and protect our communities and making sure labor is paid fairly. Please, let's hear your support for Tanya here today.
Thank you, everyone, for being here and for standing in solidarity. This is what solidarity looks like, and the administration should be afraid because you have the power. We are here today facing the most American of problems, the status quo of reaping record profits for insurance giants and sky-high salaries for executives by breaking the proverbial backs of the frontline healthcare workers. For 6 months, contract negotiations have dragged on, with management crying poverty and trying to strong-arm residents into accepting wages that don't even cover inflation. We should not and cannot accept having resident physicians who are providing the majority of patient care working 80-hour weeks and still unable to afford housing and childcare. There is no ethical way that they should be paid so poorly that they have to pick up Uber shifts to pay their bills after caring for our most vulnerable neighbors. Let me be clear. If you work full-time, you should be able to make ends meet, no matter what work you do. Amen. Everyone deserves a livable wage. But the issue becomes so much more acute when we're talking about the people who have our lives and the lives of our loved ones in their hands. We have to break this system of paying the most to the people who are furthest from the day-to-day patient care. No amount of payment reform efforts fix this if at the core issue it is grossly inequitable wage distribution. I stand here in solidarity today with every one of the almost 400 resident physicians fighting this fight. I stand with them and I demand a fair contract immediately that allows them to focus on providing high quality care and not how they're going to pay next month's rent. There is no way that the largest medical provider network in Vermont fixes record wait times for care, shortages of doctors willing to practice here, and some of the highest cost of care in the world by pushing its residents to the breaking point. Yeah. I call on UVM Medical Center management to do right by their residents, to do right by their patients, and to do right by all of us who are putting our health in their hands. The UVM residents deserve a fair contract now.
That was amazing. Let's hear it once more for Senator Tanya Vyhovsky. All right. And to close us out, I would like to invite City Councillor Carter Neubieser over to speak with us. He's no stranger to supporting union members here in Vermont. In fact, recently he led and spearheaded a coalition at City Council to help pass the resolution to support fair contract negotiation for the over 3,700 people currently negotiating with UVMMC. We thank him for his leadership and his commitment for continuing to fight for healthcare workers on the front line and delivering excellent patient care in our community. Everyone, let's hear it for Carter, please.
Everybody hear me? Yeah. Well, my name is Carter Neubieser. I'm a city councilor here in Burlington, representing Ward 1, and I'm incredibly humbled to be standing with all of you, asking that Dr. Leffler and the hospital provide these workers with a fair contract. Today in the United States, we don't talk about it enough, we spend more on healthcare than anywhere else in the world. And here in Vermont, we have the most expensive health insurance premiums compared to any other single one of the 50 states in our country. So it's not actually a stretch, and the media doesn't talk about it enough, and we don't talk about it enough as a state, that we are paying some of the highest costs for healthcare on planet Earth. That is an absurd statement to say out loud. So how is it possible that we are paying close to double here in Vermont than what our friends over in New Hampshire and Maine are paying? How is it possible but that the vast, vast majority of money spent at this hospital on salaries is going to administrators and management and bureaucracy and not on patient care, which is the whole point of our healthcare system? How is it that at the same time that executives get multi-million and $100,000 bonuses, that residents are struggling to pay for a second car or pay for childcare or pay for rent? At the same time, this hospital has been crying poverty in negotiation after negotiation after negotiation. They spend more than almost any organization in the state on lobbyists and PR firms and communication specialists to convince legislators not to pursue taxing the wealthy and creating a universal publicly funded healthcare system here in Vermont. In order to change these realities, we as elected leaders, and not enough of us recognize this, is that these workers are on the front lines of standing up to the power of the hospital and of the UVM Health Network, and the only way that we can rebalance the scales both at the city council and the state legislature and at the negotiating table is if we build a coalition of elected leaders, of community organizations, and labor unions who will build power together to fight for things like the common good proposals that you all are fighting for at the table. So in the years to come, we have a lot of work to do. We need to work with progressive champions like Senator Vyhovsky to tax the wealthy here in the state of Vermont and invest hundreds of millions of dollars of rich folks' money into creating a publicly financed universal healthcare system.
Hell yeah!
So with that, I'll pass it back. I'm so humbled to be here with all of you today. Appreciate your work, and let's continue fighting. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for City Councilor Carter Neubieser. Thank you. I would also like to thank the other elected representatives here today. We have State Senator Martine LaRocque-Gulick, State Representative Emily Krasnow, and Burlington City Council Member Jean Bergman. Please give it up for them. We also, from Senator Bernie Sanders' office, have Sydney Hicks from his staff here today, showing her support for us. All right, everyone, to close out, I just want you all to know that Your presence here today is powerful. You represent the future of healthcare in Vermont and in the communities you will go on to serve and practice in the future. What you do and how you choose to use your voice matters. It really does. That is why we continue to fight until UVMMC management gives us the contract we deserve. We continue to use our voices to fight for a better world for our patients, for a better world for our peers, and for a better world for those who will come after us. Because when we fight, we win! One more time, when we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! Yeah. Let's give it up, everyone. Great job.
All right, 3, 2, 1, solidarity! 3, 2, 1! Okay. When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! All right, I'm gonna do a lot of call and response things, so please respond when I call. All right. When I say union, you say power. Union. Power. Union. The doctors united will never be defeated. United will never be defeated. The doctors united will never be defeated.
The doctors united will never be defeated.
The doctors united will never be defeated.
The doctors united will never be defeated.
Get up! Get down! Burlington's a union town!
Get up!
Get down! Burlington's a union town! Get up! Get down! Burlington's a union town! What do we want?
Fair contract!
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Fair contract!
What do we want?
Now!
We're overworked and underpaid! Jeffrey! We're outside and unafraid!
Outside and unafraid!
We're overworked and underpaid!
Overworked and underpaid.
We're outside and unafraid!
We're outside and not afraid!
Right!
Hello, my name is Reese Neidecker. I'm a resident doctor here at UVMMC. I'm out here today as an elected official for our union, the Committee of Interns and Residents, because we're bargaining a new contract with UVMMC, and we're doing a unity break today. We've been in negotiations now for about 5 or 6 months, trying to bargain a fair contract for us and other workers in the hospital so that we have what we need to do the good work to help our patients and to continue to push forward affordable and accessible healthcare in Vermont. Right now, we're getting together with a number of other unions in the area in order to show our support for this project. As a resident, we often work 80 plus hours. Many of us work 24-hour shifts or longer, and we're paid at a wage that's just barely above minimum wage. And all of this in the context of our training being fully subsidized by federal funding. We're basically free labor for the hospital. So we want to make sure that the new contract we get reflects our worth and our value to the hospital and makes it possible for us to continue to live in the community in which we serve. So please come out and support us, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at CIR. Thank you.
All right. So my name's Brandon Lung. I am a psychiatry resident, and I am also one of the CIR union delegates and on the bargaining team. I am here at this unity break today because we have been in bargaining for months and months and months, and the management has been taking baby steps towards us. And the academic year is almost over. We have barely made any progress, especially on the economic package, on the common good provisions, such as the patient care fund. And I wanted to come out here and make a big splash so that show that the union is passionate and we are powerful and we have demands, we have a voice, and we deserve a fair contract.
Overworked and underpaid!
We're outside and unafraid!
We're outside and not afraid!
We're overworked and underpaid!
We're overworked and underpaid!
We're outside and unafraid!
We're outside and not afraid!
I'm Matt Guile. I'm running for state rep in Winooski, and so honored to have just gotten the CIR endorsement. It was amazing seeing so many people out here rallying in support of our residents, and it was amazing hearing them talk about how common good bargaining is really part of what they're pushing for. What's best for the residents is actually best for an entire community, and hearing that said again and again by our CIR representatives, by Jacob Berkowitz from UVMMC Staff United, is just showing that when we fight, we win, right? And it was just a beautiful day. So many people coming out showing support for our residents.
The mighty, mighty union.
Fighting for justice.
Fighting for justice.